This is the 6. I've put on optional cannon in the nose. It's an MGFF. Optional cannon forward facing in the gondola, and I've put on 2 1800 kilogram bombs, and I've, in terms of fuel, 700 litres of fuel. So this is a kind of a rough approximation of what it'd be like taking off to go on a mission out and then back again. So I'll be landing pretty much with 700 litres of fuel, so landing heavier than normal, most probably, but obviously minus the bombs. So I'll drop the bombs, then I'll come back and I'll land, and I'll do that a couple of times and try and get in some good landings and things like that, and try and demonstrate everything that you need to do to operate the plane. Okay, so propellers, RPM 100%. There doesn't seem to be any mixture. I checked, there didn't seem to be. So I'll press E for engine. This is not multiplayer, this is single player. The runway that I'll use there, starting from there. So I'm going to have to turn left and taxi up the dirt strip there, and then turn left to the threshold there. I might turn the volume up a tad. Compared to my usual live streams, this will be a fairly short video. I've just now got the chat open. G'day Will, welcome. Yeah, it's a pretty cool aircraft. Got the water radiator open fully. You can have 50%, should be fine. But for a climb out, for big bombers like this, they're so slow, they use so much power, you probably want 100% radiator open for the climb out. And the oil radiator, I think I've got it at 25, should be alright. So notice I've just put down some flap 25%, which is not very much. It's probably 10 degrees or something. I'd say full flap would be 40 degrees, so whatever 25% of 40 is. You got to reduce the prop pitch soon after takeoff. It's really important, or else you'll break the engine. Looking at the speedometer on the dashboard up the top, we're at about 90 kilometers an hour. You want to get closer to 150 and you'll start to float into the air. Get the gear up and then reduce the RPM. So we're at 180 now, and we're going to float up. So straight away gear up and then propeller pitch down to something manageable. What I'll do now is I'll drop the bombs and then I'll go and do a few touch and goes. You want to be pretty far away from these bombs when they go off. I can't remember the interval that I set. I didn't set anything. It's probably at 2 seconds. I keep getting this message, retract the flaps. They look pretty retracted to me. I'm in climb mode, power wise. So what's the speed like? Speed's pretty damn low, 160 kilometers an hour. So I've shut the water radiator down to about 50%. That should help with speed. Alright, managed to escape from that. I'm going to reduce the power pretty soon. Where's the runway? Where is the runway? There's the runway. I'll go back and land the way I came. I probably should have set some really high wind, but anyway. Clock is showing your time. How about that, eh? So yeah, you speed up there, getting down towards 200. Am I too close and too high? Probably. I'm going slow, full flap, 100% RPM. Power is back at idle. The speed's low. I'm going to bleed off some speed as well. Speed's around 200. For this plane, we're, I don't know, mostly on track. Using rudder only, no brakes just yet. You can use brakes if you want. What I might do is actually set some wind and then come back without the bombs and do some takeoff and landing with the wind very high. If you wanted to take off from here, I noticed the plane getting pear-shaped, so I started using brakes. Wanted to take off from here, just reduce the flap a bit because it's at 100% and away you go. Wind is at the maximum, 12 meters a second. Let's increase the turbulence to maximum, and that should be a bit interesting. Rid of the two bombs, and we'll keep 700 litres of fuel. So the whole idea of this stream is to look at landing and manoeuvring on the ground with the He111. So, and remember the wind and the turbulence are set to the highest, so I'll try and take off, and I'll try and land, and I'll try and taxi. Maybe if it all goes well, maybe I'll do 2 circuits. Just a reminder, this is what we got here. No bombs this time, just the fuel. Don't need that much fuel. I'd say the engine's a rule of thumb between 230 and 300 litres per hour per engine. 700 litres, it's enough probably for an hour's worth of flying, FYI. And I've got some... I don't want to do it. Yeah, empty. Lucky I noticed that. I've got an optional nose cannon and a cannon in the gondola. So apart from the guns, we're empty. 700 litres of fuel, no bomb. look at our speed, it's over 300 kilometers an hour. You can feel the drift of the aircraft. It's drifting from right to left. So if I land straight ahead onto that runway right there, it'd be a crosswind landing. So it looks like I've got the gear down and 100% flap, 100% propeller. Look at that angle, that crabbing angle. Speed's about 160. One thing you can do in a high wind situation, like especially high crosswind, is you can reduce the amount of flap you've got so that you land faster, so that you're less susceptible to the crosswind. You really feel the plane drifting to the left, which needs more engine power to counteract it. Speed is now showing us 100 kilometers an hour. That's indicated airspeed, which means it'd be a lot slower over the ground. The ground speed would be even lower than 100 kilometers an hour. The tricky part as well is when you're on the ground. I won't necessarily succeed in this landing. Let's give it a shot. That was not too bad. Needed to counteract the wind a lot, but apart from that it was not too bad. Those flaps are pretty savage. Look at that. Alright, so let's take off and let's do another landing, probably on a different runway this time. I'll take off without any flap. So I'll land on this diagonal runway just here. It'll hopefully be mostly into the wind. So basically there, as I move the rudder pedals, I'm also using the toe brakes as needed, left and right. So that's in the highest turbulence, the highest wind and everything. Maybe just one more takeoff and one more landing. And then next time that I land, if I'm in one piece, I'll try and taxi in these wind conditions and we'll see how that goes. Again, taking off without flaps because I'm not carrying bombs, so the weight is not very much, so flaps not necessary. Speed's plenty good to rotate right now. I think I'm straight into the wind. And lucky last, I'll land on this one here. And then I'll try and taxi over to somewhere, maybe to those buildings. Again, the indicated speed's about 100 k's an hour. We're in the highest turbulence and the highest wind. 12 metres a second wind, 3 metres a second turbulence. I'm mostly landing into the wind, so that's good. That's been 2 successful so far. Let's go for 3 for 3. And then try and taxi to the buildings on the right. Remember to use toe brakes as well as rudder when you touch down. there we go. That concludes the flight, the circuit. So I hope that's of some use, guys. I think it's a lot harder in the Ju-88. He111 is a pretty nice plane to fly. Ju-88's maybe a bit more challenging. But in any case, there we go. So thanks very much for watching, guys, and catch you for the next one. Bye for now.